Hi guys, welcome to a lecture on string slicing and indexing. So in this lecture, we're going to look at creating strings, printing strings, string indexing and slicing, string properties, string methods, and print formatting. Strings are ordered sequences of characters that use the syntax of either double or single quotes, as shown here. Indexing and slicing can be used to grab a subsection of the string. Indexing can be used to grab a single value, whereas slicing can be used to grab a subsection of multiple characters. So let me show you some examples in Jupyter Notebook, and it should be quite clear what I mean. So I've opened up a new notebook, and the first thing I'm going to do is change the header. Okay, so let's first create a string. Okay, let's create a string. So in order to create a string in Python, you need to use either single quotes or double quotes as mentioned. So let's do single quotes first. I mean double quotes. As you can see, there you go. Or you can also do single quotes. However, there are a few things that you need to consider about single and double quotes. So let's say I'm about to write I am the best. Okay, so if I try to run that, I'll get this error because you see I'm using single quotes at the start, single quote at the end. However, I got this quote here for I am, but you can use single quotes and double quotes in combination in order to avoid this issue. So I am the best. There you go, it prints it out perfectly fine. Now let's look at printing some strings. As you saw above, that just typing in the string and running it prints the string. However, the correct way of doing it is through this method. No, I'm sorry. So P should not be capital. So in order to print strings, we simply do that. This right here is called an print statements. So we can use print statements, which gives us more options. So let's say we wanna write, let's say we wanna write hello world, and we also wanna write I am here, but we want the I am here in new line. So for that, we could simply do this, and there's a new extra line because I added that. However, if I remove this, the extra line will be removed. You can also do this on the same print statement. So you can do hello world, hi. I'm sorry, the slash has to be backwards. Okay, so there you go. You can also do that in the same print statement. Now I'm going to go through some basic functions for strings. Basics. So if we want to check the length of a string, we can use a function known as length. Okay, so if we run that, we will see that the length of the string is 11. Python's built-in function len also counts the spaces and punctuation marks, so you need to keep that in mind. Now let's look at string indexing. String indexing. Okay, so we know that strings are sequences, which means Python can use indexes to call parts of the sequences. Let's see how this works. Let's first assign an object as a string. So a equals hey. Okay, now let's check that. Yep, a equals hey. Now let's start indexing. Before we start indexing, we need to keep in mind that in Python we use brackets. So we use square brackets as such in order to call its index. We should also keep in mind that the indexing starts with 0 and not 1. So let's create, oh, I'm sorry, we've already created this. So now we will start indexing. Here, I'm gonna just make it more clear. First element. So in order to index the first element, we would simply do that. There you go. So the first element here was h, and we indexed it. As you can see, I use 0 to index the first element and not 1. Okay, so if you want to index the second element, e, we use 1. Alright, so we can also use colons in order to perform slicing, which grabs everything up to the designated point. Okay, so we have looked at indexing, now let's look at slicing. So first I'm going to create a markdown, slicing, call it slicing, and let's create a new object and assign it a larger string because it'll be more clear for slicing. Okay, so A is now hello world and not hey. As mentioned in previous lecture, Python allows reassignment. Okay, so in order to grab everything past the first term, all we need to do is a square brackets One thing I want to mention is that when we're telling Python to grab everything from 0 to 4 up here, it does not include the fourth index. As you can see, it only includes these. It does not include the fourth index. Okay, you'll notice this a lot in Python where statements are usually in the context of up but not including. Okay, so it does not include the fourth index. And that happens with a lot of syntaxes in Python, so you need to keep that in mind. If you also wish to grab everything, you simply just do that, and you grab everything. You can also use negative indexing in order to go backwards. Okay, so if we just do -1, you see the last index is grabbed. Okay, we can also grab everything other than the last index. There you go, we can do that. And a really fun trick that might be useful in interviews is we can use this in order to print strings backwards. So if we simply do this, hello world will be printed backwards. Okay, now we're going to look at some string properties. So let me create a markdown, call it string properties. Okay, what we're going to look at now is immutability. So strings have a really important property known as immutability, which means that once a string is created, the element within it cannot be changed or replaced. So what that means is, let's say Let me call this again. So we have hello world here. Now, if we try to change the first letter of hello world to, let's say, Bello world, okay? So we're gonna try to change the first letter to B. Okay, so let me try that. Equals B. Now here we get this error, okay? And B is not defined, this, that, okay? However, what we can do is concatenate strings. We can, so A is currently hello world still because it's immutable, so this did not work, and H did not change to B. However, we can do concatenation, meaning we can add strings. So if we add A plus, let's add by world, okay? Now, as you can see, A has been concatenated to by world. Let me just add a space there, okay? To by world, and we can save that as the new A. Now, when I print A has been concatenated with by world and is saved to A again. So what prints out is hello world by world. Okay. We can also use multiplication symbols in order to create repetition. So let's say we want to repeat this statement 10 times. We can just use multiply by 10 and the statement would be repeated 10 times. So that's string properties. Now we're going to look at print formatting. Okay. Print formatting. Let me turn that into Markdown first. Alright. So we can use dot format bracket in order to format strings. Okay. This is, however, the second method. There's another method to formatting strings, which I'll not get into because this formatting method is preferably better than the other one. Okay, so let me show you an example of print formatting. Here I'm gonna write a statement, extra string using curly brackets. Oh, brackets. Okay. Now, in order to format the string, we do dot format added string. Okay. As you can see, the dot format is not printed, and what's printed instead is added string. We can also add objects in here. So instead of adding a string in itself, we can add a. And as you can see, the statement is printed, and also a print format thing is done, and instead of a, hello world by world is printed. Okay, that is everything for strings, and I will see you guys in the next lecture. Thank you very much.